Hello, 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 and welcome to Untame Yourself. It's time to change lives, create wealth, and start right freaking now. Hello! So today, the masterclass, you're going to learn 10 powerful ideas for spirit-driven souls that will get you changing lives, making a difference, monetizing your skills, your experience, your strengths, your history, doing all of that stuff that you've dreamt about doing in your own freedom lifestyle online business, just like it says right there. Excited to share this stuff with you, okay? So at the end of this masterclass, you're going to get a free gift from me. So let's come straight out right there and tell you that you're going to get a free gift from me when you watch this all the way through to the end. Who is this for? Okay, it's for spirit-driven souls determined to create at least $5,000 in their own online businesses. It is for spirit-driven souls who know that they're destined for something great, okay, for something different. They're here to make a difference on this planet. It's not necessarily something you say out loud, or maybe you did try once, and and you got people kind of looking at you funny, like you're too big for your boots, or that you need to tone your dreams down, or whatever. There's just a part of you that felt it maybe was proud for you to actually admit the fact that you feel you're here to influence a lot of people and to make a heck of a lot of money, okay? And sometimes those things, as spiritual people, they don't combine. It feels proud to say that stuff out loud, but I'm here to say, look here, in this deliberate life community, we admit who we are. We say out loud who we are. Well, we don't say it out loud, we just know, okay? We know who we are, we act from that place within us, and we don't need to tell the world because we'll start to do it. So you might feel a bit stuck right now. You might wonder what is getting in the way. You might wonder when it's going to be your turn. When is your breakthrough coming through? Maybe you're doing some of the stuff that you would really like to do. Maybe you're doing it in your church or your religious organization or your community center. But there's a part of you, as I said, that knows that you're called to a bigger audience. But you're not sure how, when, what, why, how am I going to get out there? Or maybe you're dabbling on the side. You're doing a little bit here or there. You started a bit of a side hustle, but it's not getting the traction that you desire. These ideas are going to support you in moving forward, okay? As long as you are ready for change, as long as you're ready to take action, as long as you're ready to take this information and actually do something with it, it will change you, okay? So let's go. Who am I? I'm Rosemary Nonny Knight, RNK for short. I am a weird blend of African and English, okay? I was born in the UK, lived in Nigeria, came back to the UK, have a weird blend of experiences, okay? From poverty to wealth. And so that informs the way I support people, the way I work with spirit-driven souls to get them making that at least $5,000 online in their own businesses and building a prosperous in all areas kind of life. It's as a result of my experiences, as a result of my connection to source, that is where all of this stuff comes out of. I used to dabble at business. I was a pharmacist. I used to be a pharmacist as well. And I felt that's the way that's what I'm going to be for the rest of my life, until I hit rock bottom of bankruptcy and depression for all manner of reasons, one of which is trying to live to everybody else's agenda except mine, because for some of the reasons that I've already given you here, I was one of those that felt I was proud for thinking that I was called to something bigger. I was one of those that felt I had to wait for somebody else to give me permission before finally accepting the role that I was here to play. I had all kinds of crazy stuff going in my mind, and we're going to talk about some of that because some of that stuff could be getting in your way as well and stopping you from moving forward. So it took me getting to rock bottom of bankruptcy, 4 years of depression, and finally coming to this place of feeling, when will my life begin? Basically, yes. I am a Disney princess lover. So I'm into all things Disney princesses. Me and my princesses as well. I have 3 awesome princesses, because that also, having those 3 awesome girls, also gave me the impetus to stop wishing, wanting, begging, and pleading with the heavens, and actually realize that this vision that had been planted inside of me was my permission to go. I was very capable of my calling. I just needed to start moving. It took me a while, but I got there. And I did go through being a property investor, trying to do the buying and selling of houses, because when I finally started to awaken from my stupor of, life is just terrible and only good things only happen to everybody else and not me. When I finally woke up from that, which was about 6 weeks after giving birth to my 3rd child, when I realized, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go back to work full time soon, because just because I'd buried my head in the sand for the last 4 years didn't mean that our money situation was sorted. So between my husband and I, we had to rise up and start doing something different. For me, I did not want to return to work in 60 to 80 hours in pharmacy. I still had to do it for a season, but whilst I was doing that, I was also building my business. So I went and worked with a mentor. I gave him $10,000 a pound, which I didn't really have. In fact, I got myself into debt doing that, but I made a commitment to myself that I was going to get that money back. Okay. So it wasn't like before when I was getting into debt and I have nothing to show for it. This time I was committed to my growth. And yes, I did what I said I would do. It took a heck of a lot of tears and all kinds of stuff. That first 12 to 18 months were one of the hardest of my life after breastfeeding, I think. Okay. But yes, it was quite tough. So I'm not going to lie that making that transition from being a professional or being in a job or being anything but a full-time business owner, trying to transition into being a business owner is not always easy. It's not that the work is hard. It's a simple work that you do repeatedly. However, you are stuck in a certain way of thinking, a certain way of being. The world, your education, everything has taught you that there's a certain way to make money, and that's the only way that is available to you. Now you start to transition into becoming a business owner. You have to start thinking differently. You have to start immersing yourself in different ways of doing life, okay? And that transition can sometimes be quite tough. Learning to trust, that can be quite tough. As spirit-driven souls, it's easy to sing about faith and trust. It's another thing to actually live it out every single day in your life, and that makes the transition quite difficult. So yeah, that 12 to 18 months were interesting, man, basically. And even carrying on building business, as long as you're willing to keep expanding, there will always be a feeling of stretching, okay? Yes, you'll learn. You will find out that actually, I remember the divine saying to me once that when you get to the end of yourself, you will see that there is no end to yourself. But the only way you discover just how powerful you are is actually by stretching yourself, honey. That's the only way you discover this stuff. But it's not easy to do the stretching, is it? But anyway, so I discovered all of this in building my property business, but I did do whatever this dude said to do, I did, man. Okay, and that brought me to a place of 12 months down the line. I won this Porsche Boxster for being Businesswoman of the Year because I had betted my best in the 12 months that I'd been on that course. I'd really gone all out, okay? And I got that Porsche Boxster, which was pretty amazing. There is me and my husband waving our hands in the air somewhere, okay? And then within 6 months of that, I got to the place where I had applied a strategy which allowed me to leave pharmacy altogether, to more than replace my pharmacist income, which was amazing. Okay. And so that's how I started here, because then people started asking if I can help them with their stuff, which I kind of wanted to coach. I had never really thought it was something I could do. It's the kind of thing I did at church, all of that stuff, but you don't do it in real life, do you? Until I was working with an actual personal coach myself who said, "What do you really want to do, Rosemary?" And I was like, well, I would like to be a coach, but I think I have to wait until at least 70 or something. Then maybe I can get to do that. And he was just like, no, you start now. And why don't you start with the people that are asking you for help anyway, basically. So I started there, and I started creating products. One of the first online products that I created was actually about my property strategy, what had got me out of pharmacy. And that's how I started creating wealth online. And that's what I do with spirit-driven clients now. I support them in coming up with products. Sometimes it's their own products, sometimes it's somebody else's, sometimes their books, their music, their art, it could be anything. And support them in actually putting a structure around that enables them to create at least $5,000 every single month. And I do that in a variety of ways. But it all started here. Because winning that car for me was more than just the car. The car meant more to my husband. The car itself meant more to my husband. To me, it was the significance of the fact that I was coming from the bottom at that point. I'd lost a lot of my confidence because I'd gone bankrupt. I'd never thought that such a thing would happen to me. Okay? I wasn't the kind of person that happened to. I didn't quit. I didn't give up. I was that person that just kept pushing forward. And so I'd felt like a failure. In fact, I'd hidden it from my family and everything because I felt like a failure. And so for me to come from that place of feeling like a failure, feeling like all the good stuff happens to everybody else and not me, coming from that place of being really tight around money, to winning this Porsche, to more than replacing my pharmacist income, that car signified to me that once I put my mind to something, I am really, truly capable of anything I put my mind to, which is what the divine had been telling me all along, but sometimes until you have the experience, it's really hard to really hold on to that. But I would say this to you as well, that when you put your mind to something, you don't need to wait any longer for somebody else to give you permission. Put your mind to the thing that you desire to do, and you will be surprised at what is possible for you too. Okay, so let's carry on our conversation here. There's two main things that are required for purpose-driven wealth. Now, I do completely believe that the only way for you to create unlimited income, and it is possible to have unlimited income, is literally for you to be living according to your true design. It is not the way the world taught us, though. The world taught us that we had to go through, do certain things, get pieces of paper, do it in a certain way. And if you lived in this area of the world, then maybe you can't. Or if you lived in that neighborhood, then you're subject to this and that and the other. And so there's this. None of that matters. What matters is that you make the decision that you're going to go forward. Okay, and we'll talk a bit more about some of those things that get in people's way. But for right now, you just get back on your true design path, doing the thing that you dream about doing. Because yes, I do believe that the desires of your heart are not a mistake. Okay, you can trust those desires because they were built into you. And once you continue, or while you continue to try and do all these other things that the world tells you is the safest path forward, you will always be limited. So if you want to step away from the limits, untame yourself and start changing the lives you know you're here to change and making the difference, making the money that you want to make, then you want to get back onto following your bliss, following the desires of your heart. Anyway, two main things that are required, okay, to actually live out that purpose-driven life. It's action. We all know this. In this community, we're not shy of action. Yes, when it comes to doing the thing that we're actually called to do, most of you are not doing enough action in that direction. You're either dabbling at it, so you're kind of in and kind of out because there's a part of you that's bought into the system of the world and you're not sure it's going to work. So you're not completely committed to giving it all of your energy because you're worried it's just going to be a waste of your time. But that's the problem. Because you're not giving it all of your energy, it doesn't really work. And so then you wonder why it's not working, but it's because you're not giving it all of your energy. And when I say all of your energy, I don't mean that you have to then quit your job or something and then start doing your purpose work. I didn't do that. What I did, however, was start to see pharmacy as a stepping stone rather than a permanent place. Whereas for a lot of you, your job, your career, your wrong business is a permanent place. And so what you're doing with your purpose work is kind of a dabble. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, which nothing will ever work that way, okay? So action is required. I know you're not shy of hard work, but you need to be doing the right kind of hard work or else you're just spinning your wheels, getting nowhere. Second thing is clarity, okay? It is about making sure that the things that we've talked about a little bit here around self-doubt or fear or uncertainty, all of that stuff, as much as possible, you're cleaning the inside of you so that you're able to do the outside work, okay? So it is partnering that inside work with the outside work that makes a huge difference. To me, I talk a lot about the deliberate life, okay? That, in fact, is what I feel called to share with the world, about living life deliberately. That leads to freedom, to fulfillment, to financial abundance, and to love in a real, unconditional kind of manner. In order to do that, at the very base of this, and when we talk about clarity here, you're connected to source, whatever you call source, whether it's divine, I call him Papa, I call him the divine, I call him God, you might call it universe, whatever. There's that energy, that power that is greater than just your physical form. You want to be connected to that. That to me is part of clarity, though I don't emphasize it in this particular training. To me, that's the foundation of everything. Just be very clear here, okay? Okay, so clarity is about getting the insides of you correct. So connection, it is being on your true design path, okay? So doing the things you actually want to do rather than just doing stuff because you think it will make you money. The money follows when you are doing what you're actually called to do and you're doing it boldly. We don't start by thinking, what will make me money? We start by thinking, what am I designed to do? What is my design? And then we do that and we figure out how to monetize the thing. We set our minds like flint that we're going to make money. Okay. And you do. Okay. And then we also, we get clear on our insides to make sure that nothing is getting in the way of our prosperity. Carrying on. Both of those things, action and clarity, will lead you to purpose-driven success and unlimited income. It really will. It really will. It takes courage and faith at the start, but it really will get you to unlimited income and true success where you're feeling prosperous in every single area of your life, not just money. Your relationships are working, your health is working, your money is working, as well as your something else. The work that you're doing, for goodness sake, you wake up in the morning and you're thinking, yay! Rather than, oh, I have to go and do that again. Okay, that was definitely me when I was a pharmacist. Okay, so let's carry on. Let's talk about action. What does that look like if you're really serious about moving forward? I start by talking about action because for most of us in this community, this is where we pay most of our attention. You start building a business, you're looking for all the tips, the tricks, the strategies. Nothing wrong with that, but it's, as we've just said, it takes both the outer work as well as the inner work. Most of us are more comfortable with the outer work. It feels, yeah, we just work harder and harder and harder and harder. But we all know somebody who's working very hard and getting nowhere, okay? Getting nowhere. We all know someone. You may be that someone. So yes, action is important, and I'm going to talk you through the things that need to happen, but it's not the only important thing, okay? So action, let's talk about that. So first and foremost, like I already mentioned, when I started to transition out of being a pharmacist, I started by teaching people what I'd done in my property business. So I put together a program. In fact, I put it together as a manual. So people had the option of getting it as a manual or joining me for a 4-week training series where I did a webinar every single week based on that manual that I'd put together. Okay. And so for 4 weeks, they got access to me and I went through the manual and really explained it to them. And they also had the option of having me on the ground with them, getting this property strategy off the ground. And that was the thing that I started by offering. That was the way I coached people to begin with, okay? And then now, since then, if you've been in my world for any length of time, you know I've done, oh my gosh, I've done over 100 of those online programs now, actually, as a result of just continuing to expand myself and also becoming more confident about teaching my skills, my experiences, my histories, the stuff that bubbles up inside of me, the stuff that will help people build businesses. I've packaged them up into products and services and all of that stuff. And that's what I mean when I say you need to create something. If we're talking about you making money based on your skills, your experiences, your histories, your strengths, then you need to start creating that. Some of you might want to write books. I've written about 12 of those, okay? They're on Amazon right now, and I'm giving you one of those Amazon bestsellers today. You might want to create programs. For me, this, since in fact when I was a child, now that I'm doing this work, I look back over my life and I realize that this was stuff that I was doing as how old was I? I think I was 9 or 10 or 11, and I was teaching people spiritual principles at school, basically. And now I'm doing the same kind of thing now, except not just spiritual principles. I'm teaching business principles and personal growth principles as well, okay? So for some of you, that's a hint as to what is your true design. You might find that by looking at your past, you find what you're supposed to be doing. Because before you got all responsible and adult-like, when you were a child, your childlike innocence, what did you want to do then? Consider that, because that might very much give you pointers for right now. Anyway, so you create something. It might be a book. It might be art. It might be in music. I've created an album as well because, yes, I'm that multi-passionate person. You might be multi-passionate as well, where there are different things you want to do. Don't use that as a reason not to start doing something. I did not start by doing all of these things at the same time. I started with one thing, and then I did the next thing, and then I did the next thing. Because I hear people saying, oh, I have so many ideas. I don't know which. Pick one. Pick one. This is what I'm going to do, okay? Now, if you happen to be listening to this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not sure I have enough information inside of me, sell somebody else's stuff that you are passionately aligned with, okay? Then find something that you are happy to get behind and decide that you're going to back it. Just get a product, okay? Next, start communicating about this. Now, this is simple stuff, which is why people go looking for complicated stuff. I still remember someone saying, does this work? Of course it works. You just need to actually work it. And for those that work it, they get the results, okay? So anyway, I haven't told you what it is yet. But you're communicating. What do I mean by communicating? This is a form of communication. I'm communicating with you about who I am, what I'm about, what I can help you out with, all of that stuff. I'm communicating. You need to start communicating. So you can write blogs, you can do videos, you can, especially we're talking about online business here, right? So you're doing blogs, you're doing videos, you're doing live streams, you're doing whatever to get your message out. Who are you? Okay. And what is it that you're offering? How can you help people? Educate, entertain, and inspire. Educate, entertain, inspire people with your communications. Find out where they are, go be there, and start communicating your stuff, okay? Communication is the first thing. I have a feeling a princess is about to come in. You just need to carry on, please, and I'll speak to you soon. Okay? And then the next thing is that you start capturing people. So now you've gone out into the world, you started communicating. So there's Facebook groups, there's all kinds of places that you can go and share your content, which is ultimately words, okay? Whether words delivered in a video, or words written or typed out, start sharing that around the place, okay? And you know, you can do this on a phone, you can do this on a laptop. No excuses, please. If you are watching me right now, you can be doing this. I don't care where you are on the planet. My goal is to empower 334,000 people worldwide. So I don't care where you are. I've lived in Nigeria. I've lived in the UK. I've lived, well, not really lived in America, but I've visited. Basically, and different places. It doesn't, if you are watching me, you have the capability of doing what I'm talking about right here. The only thing that will get in your way is some of the stuff we'll talk about later, but don't be sending me messages saying, oh, I live here and I can't do that. It's a lie. So, okay, so we're capturing people. So you've gone out there, you start communicating what you're doing. When I say capturing, you're now adding them to your Facebook page, to your Instagram profile, to your Twitter, to your whatever. And you're also building a mailing list around it. I know some people say you don't need one. I still personally think you do need to have a mailing list, okay? Which is ultimately just collecting people's email addresses. How do you do that? Right now, I give away my book, which I'll be giving away to you. So I give away my book in return for your email address so that I can stay in touch with you, okay? That is the same thing that you can do as well. So you're capturing people, you're building an audience. It's not enough to communicate. I see lots of spiritual people, oh, you know, encouraging, being inspiring, and all of that stuff, but they're not following up or telling people what they have on offer or anything like that. Or they, well, most importantly, they're not growing their audience either. They're still speaking to the same 5 people they were speaking to last year and wondering why they're not making any sales. You need to be growing your audience every freaking day. Capture. Third thing is closing, which is that you're mentioning something for sale every day. It's quite surprising to me how many entrepreneurs do not mention what they have for sale every single day. If you were a shop owner, of course, you'd open your shop every day, right? Maybe you take Sunday off or something. But you would open your shop most days of the week so that people knew you were there and they could come in and buy. We don't have the privilege of a shop front, but that's also, we're privileged that we don't need to have a shop front. What we do need to have is a very vocal cord. Very bold vocal cords where you're telling people what you're about. You're showing up and you're telling them how you can help them. The ones that you are called to serve will finally answer you if you are being bold enough, okay? Some of them will answer you very quickly if you are being bold enough. For a lot of people, you're not being bold enough. And you're not being consistent about it. So you show up when you feel good, and you don't show up when you don't feel good, which is rubbish, okay? Let's just say that. You don't do that in your job. Why would you treat your own business, your own vision and purpose with such disrespect? No, you show up whether you feel like it or you don't feel like it. And you show up as confidently as you can, as boldly as possible. People wait for confidence. No, confidence comes last. You do the thing, then you get the confidence, okay? You have to courageously start showing up every single day in some way, telling people what you're about, entertaining, inspiring, educating, and making an offer for sale. You know, making them an offer. Or else they don't know what you're here to do. They just think you're a nice, sweet person, which is great. You get lots of likes, but nobody's buying. And that, ultimately, if you're going to really change people's lives, you need to get to the point where people are buying stuff from you, my love, okay? And you are the one that, by telling people about it, is how you get them to the place of buying from you. And by telling them consistently. We're not amateurs here. We might feel like it to begin with, but we're not. So we don't act like an amateur, which is that we just show up when we feel like it, or we show up like really mouse-like. No, if you're going to show up powerfully. And if you're going to show up every freaking day, okay? Okay, so weird insect. Okay, so carrying on. Well, now that's the action side. Now let's talk about clarity. This is the part that people ignore. And yet, this is the part that will stop you from winning more easily than the work, because you can work forever. Some of y'all some of you will do what I've just said, but you do it so sheepishly because you're not clear. that nobody even notices. So you're like, but I'm doing it all, Rosemary. No, you're not. You're doing it. Yeah, you are. But you're doing it as sheepishly as possible that nobody even sees you. Okay? You're doing it erratically. And why? Because you're not clear. Let's talk about clarity. So do you actually believe in the power of your message? Do you believe that you are capable of your calling? Are you enough? That is the question to be asking yourself. And it's a question I've had to come back to time and time again, because sometimes what we're doing here, especially if it's like your books or your art or your music or your products that you've put together, you can make that mean too much about you. Okay? It's easier to sell somebody else's thing because you're not emotionally attached to the thing. But when it's your own thing, suddenly it's like, oh my gosh, if they don't buy it, it must mean something terrible about me. And then you start trying to contort yourself and conform to whatever this person wants or that person wants. No, honey. Do you believe in the power of your message? Are you enough? Are you enough? The answer needs to be yes. And it is a decision. Okay, so it's not, rocket science or anything. There's no deep healing that needs to happen. It's just, you need to decide that you're enough. The other thing, another question that spirit-driven people would be asking, particularly if you're brought up religious, is God on my side when it comes to this? Maybe he doesn't want me to build a business. Maybe he doesn't want me to make money. Oh my God. And nobody ever seems to go directly to source. Instead, they listen to this middleman over here who stood on a stage somewhere and said, the rich are evil or something. All your parents might have said that too. Okay? The truth of the matter is the divine withholds nothing from you. And some of you will find that statement a bit difficult. But whilst you believe he does, you will always be, should I not? Am I really called? I don't know. We need to wait for another voice from the heavens, angels coming down with a scroll, unwrap it and say, yes, it is your time. Then I will go. No, honey, you can't do that. But if that is in the back of your mind somewhere, it will keep you from, showing up powerfully in your business. So you need to handle that. You need to take it directly to source and ask the question. And you'll be surprised what you hear. That when I go directly to source about most of these questions that I kept hidden inside of me thinking, no, I don't know. I don't want to think about it because I might be evil. These questions, when I take them directly to source, the answers I get are usually quite different from what the world has been telling me. And the world might be even your religious organization. So be willing to question some of the ideas you've taken on as gospel truth. Okay? Okay. Will they think I'm crazy? Yes, they will. Your family might think you're crazy. Your friends might think you're crazy. They might think you've suddenly become all about the money and everybody, and you've just become this person that they don't know anymore. Okay, if you're blessed, that will not happen. Your family and your friends will still love you, whatever you're doing. If you're blessed still, it will happen because you're still blessed, but it will happen, and they'll still love you. Okay, but they'll just think that you're a bit crazy and they'll be looking at you like, why are you doing this? If you're still blessed, they might really actually stop talking to you. It is the truth. That can happen. As you start to expand, some people may not like it. Are you going to give up as a result of that? I certainly hope not. So yes, they will think you're crazy. You already think you're a little bit crazy from time to time. So of course they will join in. But that doesn't need to stop you. It's a decision you make not to just please people, but rather to serve people. And you're not necessarily called to the people in your immediate world. Some of them, you're serving them right now, and it's convenient to them. When you try and start doing something outside of your religious organization or community center, they'll start telling you you're selfish or something along those lines, or you're too big for your boots and you need to wait for the pastor to give you permission or whatever. You don't need to listen to that. You need to listen to that source within you. You need to learn to trust your heart again. Okay? Okay, something else. I get rich and everybody else gets poor. This also is a spiritual issue that people feel this. Actually, people who are not spiritual sometimes feel this as well, and then try to tame themselves because they're thinking, oh, if I do something, then somebody else. Please, you don't serve the world by acting small. You don't make anybody. I've lived in Nigeria. I've lived in UK. You didn't make me no richer just because you were being poor over in the UK or something, So it doesn't make any sense. If anything, your decision to create a heck of a lot of wealth will mean you're able to impact more people, will mean you're able to influence more of the world, will mean that somebody in your world will look at you and think, well, if you can do it, I can do it. And you don't know what that person will go on and do. You will change the tone of the generations coming after you. Honey, you choosing abundance makes the world more abundant. So all this thing about, if I take, then somebody else is losing, it's a lie, okay? It's a lie. You are creating more abundance into the world and you're using your divine ability to do this. How dare you shut it down? By you acting small, you are taking from the world, okay? I see that as selfish rather than the other way around. Create abundance because you are making the world a heck of a lot more abundant as a result of that. So you need to handle that thought in the back of your mind so you're not acting from a place of cowardice, okay? What if I run out of things to say? Because yes, you are creating content. The truth of the matter is that connection with me, if you've been in my world for any length of time, you know I've created a heck of a lot of stuff, written about 12 books, written about 100 programs and growing, okay? I write blogs. I've written about 2,500 blogs. And all this stuff, if you had told me at the start that I would do all of this in the last, 4.5 years, I would have thought you were crazy. I mean, when I was writing my final year project for pharmacy, 10,000 words felt like the most hard thing ever. Now I look at it and think, what was the problem? But I didn't get here in one day. I got here one day at a time, being willing to create things every day. And as I did that, the body of work continues to grow. You can do that too. You will not run out of things to say. You stay connected. You will not run out of things to say. Okay? Okay. Does anyone want what I have? Well, the only way you'll ever find out is if you put stuff out there. So put stuff out there. Okay? Tell the world what you're about. You will find your people. There are 7 point God knows what billion people on this planet. Some of them are yours. You don't even need that many. Of course, you don't need 7 billion. You can have them if you want. But you don't need 7 billion to have a good living. So, yes, there are people that want what you have. Now create and put it out there. Okay? Okay, triggers. What is triggering you? Sometimes we're still being triggered by things that some stories and past events that happened when you were 3, 4, 5 years old. And to this day, maybe you saw your father lose his job or lose his business. And to this day now, you're too scared to be in business because every time you think about it, you think you're in the back of your mind, your subconscious mind is saying, your father did that and he failed. Your father did that and he failed. And so now you're still being triggered by that. And so you're kind of in business, but you're not really. Because somewhere inside of you, you're thinking, I'm going to fail. If my dad failed, of course I'm going to fail. Or other stories that we all have. It's time to start doing the clearing work from our past stories so that we can move past them. This will need some kind of healing, okay? And when I say healing, it is literally, doing some kind of mindset work to move yourself forward. If you're spiritual, there's all kinds of different things you can do, but none of these things need to get in the way of you doing the work every single day. Let's be clear about that. I'm not telling you to take off 1 year to go and be supremely clean and clear. You will never be. As you do the work, things will show up. You deal with those things. You don't deal with every single thing. I mean, come on. Part of our being here is, part of the expansion is as we grow, there's more stuff that we need to clear out of the way, and that's okay. It doesn't need to get in the way of doing the work, doing the physical work, okay? We do the inner work and the outer work together at the same time. Ooh, I reached my steps. I don't know how because I've not moved, but here we go, okay? What else? Yes. And as a result of doing all of this stuff, you will create wealth as long as you are consistent. Consistent. I wish I could give you a timeline. I can't. You just need to be consistent until you get the result that you desire. That is your choice, okay? You have control over that. Will you be consistent, or will you keep coming up with the reasons and excuses to not show up? Oh, I didn't feel good today. No, that needs to get in the way. Consistency is absolutely key to creating the life that you desire, okay? Okay, so as I said, I have something free for you. So now we got through all of that. Are you going to do it? You have access to this video. You can listen to it again. You can make notes, all of that. And also, more importantly, what bubbled up inside of you as you listen to this, okay? Because it isn't always what I say. It is usually what the divine is saying within you that makes a huge difference to your results. But in the meantime, whilst you're figuring all that stuff out, I have something free for you. If you liked what you heard on this masterclass here, okay, what I want you to do is go and grab a free copy of one of my books, one of my Amazon best-selling books. It's called The Deliberate Millionaire's Freedom Book. It's about living free, living wealthy, and living on purpose. Stop living for the weekend and start doing what you want, when you want, deliberately, okay? Now, this book goes into all kinds of different stories and around some of the things that I had to free myself from in order to untame myself, facing your fears. It's moving away from petrification. This is when you're standing still and you're feeling stagnant and stuck. Basically, what do you do to get free of that? What do you do to question what you consider to be truth? Because sometimes what you consider to be truth could be holding you back until you actually shine a light on it instead of just blindly following. Sexual freedom is another area that for leaders, it's a big deal. You need to actually handle that stuff, okay? And he also goes into talking about 6 different business models that are freedom-based that you can do from anywhere in the world, literally, and create an income whilst doing it, okay? You can be multi-passionate. There's an insect here. You can be multi-passionate. You might have different ideas and things. This will help you sort out what do I do, how do I do it, blah, 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 all of that stuff. What else? Religious bondage as well, okay? I know sometimes you're not in that place where you're ready to hear about this stuff, but just read it. I know for me, I had to question a lot of what I considered to be truth in order to free myself to step forward into the life that I'm called and born to live. I had to take things directly to source rather than just taking it from on face value. I had to actually listen to those questions that had been bubbling up inside of me that I had tried to pretend were not there, okay? Because to me, building a business is a spiritual journey. It isn't just about making money. It isn't. It really isn't. Not for us. For some people, they can do this whole, I just want to make some money. If that's you, then you're in the wrong place. I can tell you that right now. What I am about is making a heck of a lot of money, but doing it on purpose. Doing it deliberately, okay? As a result of doing the thing that you're actually called and born to do, the thing that you really want to do, rather than just doing anything that you think will make you money. It's going to take you the same amount of energy to build a business doing what you don't want to do, but think will make you money as it's going to do to build a business you do want to do. Why would you choose to do that? Seriously. So, yes, this book covers a heck of a lot of stuff. I am very proud of this book, actually. As you can see, there's a testimonial at the bottom there. This book is inspirational with many words of wisdom that have helped me think more about what I want. Good. And lots of different things in that book. This is somebody else saying that they were glued to my book. They saw their reflection in it. What else? Yeah, and yeah, she's going to stop hiding and all of this. Anyway, stuff like this have been said about reading this book. Other people have said, it's made them more productive than they've been in years. It's opened people's eyes to what is possible for them, okay? As you start to tap the surface of what is possible for you as you open yourself to new ideas. This book definitely plants new ideas within you. You don't have to take anything at face value, of course, but you do want to question whether the way you're thinking right now is enough. Because if you're listening to this, the chances are you're not quite where you want to be. The reason why you're not quite where you want to be is going to be something to do with what you're thinking and what you're allowing yourself to have. This book will open your mind and open your eyes to what is possible. So go get the book. It's completely free at the moment, so, why not? But actually, don't just get it because it's free. Get it because you are that person that does want to make you're that spirit-driven soul that does want to make at least $5,000 in your online business. I'm not necessarily for everyone, is the truth of the matter. I can be quite aggressive as well, because as much as I'm a spiritual person and I've been, connected to source since I was like, as long as I can remember, 5-6 years old, that is the most important thing to me on the planet. Okay, it really is. My connection to God is the most important thing to me. But I am also very, very practical. And if you're just wishy-washy kind of, I'm not putting people down, but at the same time, if you're not actually really willing to go forward, I will be too much for you. Okay, I will be too much for you. So just opt out right now. But if you are willing and ready to build a life around the passions in your life, to build your life connected to source, to make money doing what you want to do, then this book is a great place to start. Okay, so it's called The Deliberate Millionaire's Freedom Book. You can get it at rosemarynonnyknight.com/freedom book. Go over there right now. I'll put the link around this video somewhere so you can click through and sign up. I look forward to welcoming you into my world. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, you are definitely the kind of person that I'm called to serve. You're one of us, one of the 334,000 who are going to make a dent on this planet. Come and join us in the Deliberate Life community. Start with this book. Okay? Much amazing love. It's been a pleasure sharing this stuff with you. Share this video with other people. Okay? So tag somebody in. Share it, share it, share it. Go get the book. Much love. Go forth and prosper. Till the next time. Bye.